Okay, good morning. Today I will be talking about what I believe is the bigger problem here in America. I will build your knowledge about an epidemic happening right now under our feet, and nothing is being done about it. So many things are happening around in our lives, and we are dedicating ourselves to this technology and other cluster of things that we are not open up. I have a story to tell, and it's about a good friend of mine named Austin. He was a football player. He was a good high school player, I guess you could say, because I never got to see him play past that. It started off as an injury with his ACL, and I started noticing that he was starting to take his pills a little more often. Then I started noticing his friend group change. Eventually, I would not see him out in the streets anymore. I wouldn't see him coming out or partying or just coming to certain events to say what's up to your friend. I would visit him and it'd be like I was looking at someone with a veil over them and nothing to do but sit there and kind of talk and try to help. Today I'm going to be speaking on the opiate epidemic here in America. Other than the research I've personally done and the news reports I've seen on TV, of course, I've seen this happen firsthand. Not to just one of my friends, but many. And many people that maybe aren't my friends but are surrounded. This has to do, or this information is useful for all of us because we cannot sit here and say that one of us or family members has sat here, has not tried an opiate in their life. We cannot say that your mom, aunt, cousin, grandma, grandpa after surgery, getting your teeth pulled out, or whatever it may be. Lots of people are introduced to this drug every year. I'll bring light to this intolerable opiate epidemic that is ruining families and people's lives by showing you factual information like the cause of the opiates epidemic and the effects of it. And I will show you how pharmaceutical companies, our government, and law enforcers are fully aware of this epidemic but are doing nothing to change it. This issue is no joke. And if you want to know the definition of an epidemic is a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. Yes, a disease. We need to open our eyes and minds. There's an opiate epidemic in America that is in control. It is hiding and being ignored. And it needs attention. It needs a loud roar from our citizens. In the National Catholics Bioethics Corollary, there was a segment called Dreamland, The True Tales of America's Opiate Epidemic by Sam Quinos. It takes us back to the beginning of these opiates, and it gives us the first movement towards our doctors in the pharmaceutical industry here in the 1980s in the English Journal of Medicine that reported that oxycodone, an opiate for pain relief, provided a non-addictive, opiate because of its slow time release, and it was kind of a good persuasion for the FDA. And DEA also, because these drugs are all passed, and these drugs are not just made and sold and manufactured. This gave pharmaceutical companies, like a company named Purdue, the chance to start and manufacture these medications with approval and make millions of dollars. it's really easy to get these things, and it's really lots of
Pushing the wrong button.
the top.
Nope. It's the bottom one. It's the back button. There you go.
There you go. Here, in the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, we see a statistic here, and it shows here in the last year, 2017, we had 49,060 Americans die, and this is all opioids in general. So as you can see here, nothing has changed. I mean, nothing has fallen. There has been no significant changes in this epidemic. Pharmaceutical companies and owners and law enforcement are fully aware and do little to stop this. Federal agencies are approving of the opioids and letting this happen right in front of our eyes. The FDA, along with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, helps monitor use of available opioid products, which we have too much of. Pharmaceutical manufacturers and owners show no remorse in thought of worrying, doing our country harm. Just click on the screen. I want to show you. This is Stephen Colbert, and
welcome back, everybody.
He just talks about how
one company that has profited massively off your pain is Purdue Pharmaceuticals, the makers of OxyContin, which is owned by the Sackler family, seen here not giving. The Sacklers and Purdue have faced hundreds of lawsuits, including one right now by the state of Colorado, which alleges that Purdue Pharma downplayed the risk of addiction associated with opioids, exaggerated the benefits, and advised healthcare professionals that they were violating their Hippocratic oath and failing their patients.
So as you can see, they are sitting on cash flow, lots of dough. However, the FDA bases its approval on decisions of the manufacturer's trial and errors. In conclusion, this opioid epidemic needs to be heard of by all citizens, and it needs to be helped with. We need to bring it to justice and make sure that everybody hears the loud roar across our states. Thank you.
Anybody know when Stranger Things come back up? Next year?
I know I have like another video, like a 1-minute push light. That one
Okay, Jay, what do you say?
like
I really like how he states that he's trying to find it's like a bigger problem in America, meaning it's more than what we think, stuff that we just. I like how he states his thesis. I liked how he relates to a story to help us get intrigued by the presentation, like helping us find like what he really was talking about. Cause and the bad thing I say, like I didn't really see his purpose statement until later on after he related his story to us. Cause I was lost before, and then I think he should like have a more effective transition through his paragraphs. In other words, bro did good.
Well, you kind of start with something that sounds like you're building a little bit of suspense, and then you've got a personal story that you add into it. I think the personal story is the thing that's going to work a little bit better for you, but you have to have more control over the story and have it planned out a little bit more. The subject identification is pretty clear. Your purpose statement is a little bit less so. There is a I don't know what the hell is going on over there. There is a preview. It's kind of like you're talking about a cause and effect structure, but I didn't really see that very much in the body of the speech. So I think you need to identify that more when you are talking about it in the body of the speech. There is good information in the presentation. You've got some data, some history, events that you're talking about. I like the graph with the deaths related to opioids listed there. I thought that was pretty effective at illustrating your point. But there are two things that both that chart and the Colbert thing, that kind of undermines your whole argument that people are unaware of this and the government's ignoring it. Well, if they're keeping statistics on it and Stephen Colbert's ranting about it on his TV show, it doesn't exactly sound like it's being ignored. Maybe we're not doing enough, or maybe we're doing things that are contributing to it. That's what you need to get to. But the idea that we've ignored it, maybe it's stuck up on us and it's now hitting us a little bit harder. Maybe that's the kind of thing, because you mentioned kind of a timeline in the graph. There's a reference to how long these things have been going on, and I'm trying to remember when it was first introduced as a drug that was available. Did you say 2006 or something like that? I don't remember.
It was first available in the English Medical Journal in 1980s.
Okay.
Well,
so it's referred to in the 1980s.
The actual manufacturer of OxyContin, which is the most popular,
Yeah. When did OxyContin hit the market?
That's when it hit the news articles, and then it hit the market, I think, like a year later.
Okay.
Because of its.
All right. So, but I think that there's kind of this timeline here that before this we had different problems. After this we had these kinds of problems. The total number of deaths, for instance. By the way, I always looking at the one visual, and it did seem to suggest that a lot of the deaths are not from the pharmaceutically available opioids, but
it's all
other opioids too. So I think you need to clarify that a little bit more. The presentation issue you got to be careful about. I think Jay's been so kind he didn't say it. You've got caged tiger syndrome. You are pacing back and forth the whole time. That's where all your energy is coming out. There's nothing wrong with an occasional movement that's purposeful, that you're doing it to emphasize a particular idea, to change focus while you're speaking to the audience and make sure that you're including other parts of the audience in. But yours is all like, just, I've got energy coming out and I've got to get it out somehow, and that's where it's coming out. And so that's kind of a little bit of a distraction. All right. I'm going to stop there because